Alright, because I have so many new subs, literally over 1,000 in just the last few weeks, just the last couple of weeks, and I'm getting the same question over and over again. And I've actually addressed this question in previous videos when I first started doing this. So I'm going to have to do it again. And it's about another astrologer on YouTube. And I'm not going to call out any names because I watch a lot of these other astrologers. I'm still learning too. I could live 1,000 lifetimes and never learn everything you need to know about the heavens. But when I first got started, I ordered a chart from this particular channel, and it didn't help me at all. I got a 15-minute audio with a little paper circle printout, and I didn't understand any of it. It left me more confused than anything. And then a few months after that, they changed the way they were doing the charts. They moved to a 13th sign zodiac, which changed everything about the chart. And so I questioned, is my chart still correct? Oh, don't worry about it. That's what I was told. So I feel like I just rolled down the window and just threw money out because I learned nothing. It left me more confused than I was to begin with, and there was no explanation to anything. So I just wrote it off as a lesson learned. And this is one of, if not the biggest, astrology person on YouTube, on the internet, period. And so I had to look into the 13th sign zodiac. And when I did that, I began to understand the circle. And I began to understand why it was wrong and why it didn't work. Magically speaking, when you add the 13th sign, you've broken the circle. And it don't work anymore. You can't just shove in an element or a sign that doesn't exist. The magic no longer works. So I'm not calling this person out, and I don't care who you see, or you can learn from even bad sources that are wrong. You can still learn from them because you learn what's right and what's not right. So I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just telling you the 13th sign is error. It's error. It's put there. They did that on purpose. It's called changing the times and the seasons. Okay, it has to do with the Vatican, why all that went down. So I want to clear that mess up. And by all means, look at that channel, watch it, prove it to yourself. You learn the material, you learn the circle, you learn alchemy, and you'll see what I see. That stuff don't work. You've broken the circle. Now there's no earth, water, air, fire. You've tried to throw ether in there because you don't understand the word ether is the same as the word heaven or air. It's all the same word. It means etheric, non-tangible. And to understand the linguistics, it's where I picked it up, was through language, not astrology. I get it. I get what they're doing. But that 13th sign zodiac does not fly. It does not fly. It has no wings. And I'm getting a lot about Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus, it's simply the upper house of Scorpio. If your sun lands in Ophiuchus, sometimes it's up here, sometimes it's down here, because the sun and the moon do this. We've done that. They snake through the heavens. I'll say that again. They snake through the heavens, like all the planets do. They're in the upper houses, they're in the lower houses. That's all that means. It's still Scorpio. You're still a Scorpio, not Ophiuchus. It just simply means you're going on the hero's journey. You need to learn the lesson. What is the lesson of Scorpio? What is Scorpio? It's water. What water? This is the water of the people you choose in your life. Cancer is the people in your family. Pisces are the people in groupthink. People you work with, people you go to school with, people you're in groups with. Like mind, think alike. These are the people you choose in your life. Ophiuchus is Hercules. Hercules goes on the hero's journey. Ophiuchus is Vishnu. Vishnu goes through the 12 trials or the 12 houses of the zodiac. Same thing. It's all the same thing. And it is to learn the lesson of Scorpio is to learn the lesson of who you choose in your life. You keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, and it's a question of loyalty. It's about loyalty. So, no, you don't have a birth sign Ophiuchus. You have a birth sign Scorpio. Simply, the upper house is Ophiuchus. There is no 13th sign. To bring in Ophiuchus, they had to scoot Sagittarius this way and scoot Scorpio that way. They changed everything. And it does not work. They broke the magic circle. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that. And I don't care who you throw your money at. That's really your business. But you cannot bring me somebody else's little circle chart they printed out on a computer and want me to read it for you. I'm not going to do that. One, I don't use those charts. They don't make any sense to me. I can't see through the scribble. The lines, all the lines point this and that and all the symbols. It'd take me forever to sit down and figure it out. But I can look right here at where they are, and this is all in my head. I see it plain as day. I can close my eyes and see it. I can see everything in it. I don't need the computer printout. And when I do charts, I'm not going to give you that. Because to me, it's useless unless you are an astrologer. Unless you are very well versed in all of those symbols, in that circle, in the image. I'm using the imagery. That's what I'm versed in. So that's what I understand is the imagery. So I don't understand what they're doing. So I'm not going to give it to you. I mean, I spent $60 with this person, and they gave me a 15-minute audio telling me, here's the funny thing about it. When I looked up my chart on the internet, it told me the same thing he did. So I realized all this person was doing was just printing out what was already online and selling it to me for $60. That's what went down. I didn't learn anything. I could have got the exact same information by going one of the free online services and putting in my birthday and pushing the little button myself. It was exactly the same thing. And I learned nothing. It's just repeat and repeat out of what come out of some book. So, but again, all script is good for learning. What I did learn, what I learned was, in my opinion, what they're doing was bullcrap. It didn't gain me anything other than knowing what not to do, which I guess is a great lesson. Some of the greatest lessons in my life have been not learning what to do, but learning what not to do. Okay, that being said, let's move on to the next order of business, which is my Patreon channel. It's fixing to open up. I will probably post a video tomorrow or the next day with the link. I have settled the issues, and all of my material that was on Patreon has now been taken down. They sided with me after reviewing YouTube that indeed was all of my work. It is open source, and stated so in many of my videos that this is free for everybody to use. And I don't care if you make money off of it. You can put it on Patreon yourself in your own version with clips and make money off of it. But you are not allowed to copyright it as your work and claim that nobody else can use it on Patreon or another source. That was wrong. Yes, you can use it to make money, but you can't lock it down. This is open source material for the world. It's coming straight from me, what I have learned. And nobody has a right to claim it as their own. This belongs to the world. It is as open source as Linux is. And that is that. And by all means, if you can, there are other people that have been on my channel that are using Stellarium. They are doing charts the way Alchemy teaches. I am so overbooked and so far behind, charts are not even an option for me right now. I need to get caught up and get my life straight, and then we'll kick back in. But as I've said in previous videos, Victoria Cotton on YouTube, she is doing alchemical natal charts using the material I am providing, and she's doing an excellent job. She even has understanding, knowledge, and information about the signs that I don't. She can give you a perspective I can't even give you. I'm still learning and growing like the rest of you. But, so I recommend her if you want an alternative. Well, if I can't get to you and you're in need now, by all means, I suggest her. If any of the rest of you are doing these charts, watching my channel, and you would like me to check out your channel, see what you're doing, I can recommend you as well after I check it out and see what you're doing. But I'm not going to blindly add your channel, promote your channel. But after I've checked it out, and if I agree, yep, you're doing it the right way, then I have no problem doing that. I have no problem spreading it around. I'm just one person trying to do so much. And with 1,000 new subs, I am spending several hours a day just going through comments and emails. And I'm still hundreds behind on emails. I try to notice when a new one comes in, and if the subject line seems important, I might click on it. Otherwise, it just sits there until either Spirit moves me to click it or the time rolls around that it's the next one in order I open. But like I said, there's just one of me. And right now, my channel is so much bigger than I ever wanted it to be. I was happy with 200 subs because I could interact with everybody. I could look at everybody's chart. I knew everybody personally. I knew their names and everything about them. And it was it was wonderful, actually. But now it's so big, and the material has grown so much because now I'm adding the Freemasonry pillars. I'm adding the Tree of Life Kabbalah paths to all of this. That it has expanded to where when I do a chart now, it's 2 hours long. And I go through every planet in all 3 stages. Natal, first and second Saturn returns. All of them. With the who, what, where, when, why, and how of it all. And it's very complex. And it's very complicated. And I don't know of anybody that are doing sidereal or tropical astrology that are giving you that kind of information. You just get that same little wheel printed out with all those lines connecting everything. They don't explain what anything means, and they give you the same song and dance that you can get off. They're just copy and pasting it offline and sending it to you. That's what I got. That's what I'm seeing done. As far as sidereal astrology, I watch Joni Patry. I don't agree with everything she says, because I look at it from an alchemical perspective. But the woman is brilliant. She's done her homework. She understands the astrology part of it. She doesn't have a clue really about the magic circle. She understands that it has an alchemy aspect to it, but she really doesn't grasp it. She doesn't see it for what it is. It's a magic circle of nature, earth, water, air, fire. When you're looking at it, you're looking at the process of nature that is occurring in the heavens, on earth, and in your bodies. And they're all connected. When I talk about your 3 crosses, or your 3 pillars, or your 3 paths, that's the same thing. We're talking about the heavenly aspect, the earthly aspect, and the human experience of it all. And there's something to learn in every bit of it. Every time I watch one of Joni Patry's videos, I'm actually learning something. I learn a little something, an aspect about a certain sign, and I'll go look it up, and I'll compare it to the alchemy and decide whether, yep, she's right. That's absolutely right. That's where that belongs. And I expect you to do that with my work. I expect you to critique me. Because if you do not, and I have made an error, how am I supposed to learn? And so, yeah, you could critique me. I have no problem with constructive criticism. Now, I do have a lot of people that are landing on my channel that don't do astrology, and I'm getting, oh, this is bullshit, blah, 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 blah. You know the story. But, and that's okay too. But how can you just come on my channel, watch one video, you know nothing about what I'm doing, and then you leave me this comment? It's just a long line of insults. I've been called an old hag and all kind of stuff. You know, when someone doesn't have anything intelligent to say, they resort to insult and slander. Quote from Mark Twain, my favorite author. I love Mark Twain. What an intelligent man. One-liners that can change the world. More people should read Mark Twain. I wish I had a YouTube channel that was nothing but Mark Twain quotes. The man was far before his time. We need him now, today, especially with all this political correctness and crash and burn going on. By the way, let's talk about some of that. Because there's a lot on YouTube that we're just not allowed to discuss. You get your videos shut down. You get community strike guidelines and all these new rules they don't tell you about till they crash and burn your channel. And so it's really getting out of hand, and I'm frustrated with it. So I'm hoping that Patreon will have a little bit more leeway where I'm not stepping on pins and needles when I try to step out of astrology and relate it back to what's going on around us. But I've done enough videos in the past talking about 2020 coming and what all this entails, and I've been doing it for 10 years. Since 2010, I have been screaming 2020. Before 2012, I told you nothing was going to happen on 2012, that the date is 2020, and that's in the heavens, and that it would be the craziest year that I can even imagine astrology. And I've looked into the past and I've looked into the future, and 2020 takes the cake, period. It just takes the cake. It is chaos. It is a war. It's a dance. It's everything. But it's the change. It's the transmutation. It's the halfway point between two eclipses, which are the 7 years of Jacob's trouble. And Jacob is Yaakov. That's Yah. That's Jupiter. That's Europe, not America. But you have Europeans here. It's following the land. It's following the symbols, the signs. It's following the alchemical process. So maybe I can talk a lot more about that on Patreon than I can here. If not, BitChute is my next. I'm going there. And I also have already signed up for Library. So also looking into that just to archive. Now, this channel has gotten so big that when I move to Patreon, because it will be subscription only, we're going to do a lot of do away with a lot of having to defend myself like this, because those who are going to come over there are going to be already versed. So it's going to be an advanced alchemical astrology channel. I'm not going to, if you want to play kindergarten and you don't understand, then you just need to stay on YouTube till you do. Go back and watch the other videos. The more you watch, the more you do your homework, eventually it's going to click for you. You're going to start to see this circle the way I do, and that we're all in the circle. Now, in alchemical terminology, the circle protects you. If you're doing alchemical magic, you do the circle and you stand in the circle. You make another circle for whatever it is you're conjuring, so it stays in the circle. The circle is for protection. So when you go break in the circle and add in the 13th sign, you have no idea the chaos you've just let loose. Don't mess with the circle. It's perfect. It's the most perfect thing I've ever found in creation. The only perfect thing I have found in creation. Because Lord knows, none of us are perfect. But guess what? That's what this circle does. An alchemical circle extracts the essence or quintessence of a thing, which is perfecting. It refines to pure gold. It refines you over and over. You keep going through the distillation process over and over to refine, refine, refine. Now, I leave the links below, and some of you are telling me they've scrubbed Planetary Linguistics, that the original list and the names are no longer there. Well, that's okay, because I've done your homework, and I've already done the videos. Go back to Inside 33 Archive. The link is below in the description box. I've done the videos there showing Planetary Linguistics, and we go through the names. So it doesn't matter that they're scrubbed. I've done the work. Google Translate scrubbed all of the translations for the names of the stars from the different languages. Too bad. I've already done the videos back before 2012. We've done all this. So you have access to all that material. Again, Inside 33 is not my channel. That belongs to Inside 33. And when Google and YouTube took my channel down, he was kind enough that he had archived my videos there in a playlist. So when you comment on Inside 33, I do not see those comments. And he does not provide me a link. We only talk every once in a while, and he has been really good about archiving my work so that it remains there, and I'm forever grateful to him. And I hate it for you that the name Inside 33 upsets you. You have been programmed and triggered. You need to get your head out of the sand and put it in the clouds. Much better place to be. So, let me see what else I want to say here before I cut this. Let's just bring it back full circle to where this video started. And again, like I said, I had gotten 3 emails in a row with people who are showing me their circles from the same astrologer off YouTube. And like I said, I don't want to condemn that astrologer. I don't want to tell you not to go there, because I went there myself. And if I had not gone there, I would have never known what I do now. To learn what's right, sometimes you have to walk through what's wrong. And so I don't want to condemn that channel. I don't even want to tell you to stay away from it, because you can actually learn from it. So while I don't, I mean, like I said, I feel like I wasted my money there because they didn't teach me anything. I had to go back and re-question and teach myself. But because I found error in it, I did learn. So, you know, to me, that's the best way I've always learned, is from my mistakes. And none of us are perfect. But when we become perfected, you don't come here anymore. You've been refined out of nature. To me, and my understanding of this circle, it is nature's magic circle to extract purified, refined souls. And I've done enough charts that I've watched people move from mutable positions in their natal chart to fixed positions in their first Saturn return to cardinal positions in their second Saturn return. This can be done in one lifetime, especially now at the end of the age of Pisces. When you talk about, let me pull up a circle and we'll look at it that way. I talked about this in the last video. During the age of Aquarius and Capricorn previously, we were in the Golden Age. And then we fell. We were all ruled by our higher self. We were ruled by our crown chakra, and it put us in the Golden Age. But we fell into desire, and that is Jupiter in Sagittarius, that whole age. And it was under solar astrology. We went from Saturnalian astrology to solar astrology. And we had it through Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, into Leo. 5 ages. Then they had the flood and moved to lunar astrology, because without technology, you could no longer see the stars during the day. So it became the shepherds watch their flocks by night. That's a freaking astrologer. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ages of lunar astrology. Somebody made the comment that the Pope closed the mercy door. Well, the solar astrology is severity. The lunar astrology is mercy. He's closing out this because we're moving into this. We're moving back to the middle pillar, the middle path, the fixed cross, ruled by our higher selves. The fall started with the desire, and it ends with desire. Jupiter, Jupiter. It has always been the battle of fire and ice. Jupiter and Mars, they swap places. Fire and ice, Jupiter and Mars. Same thing, which is Asia and Europe. Asia and Europe. Back and forth, back and forth. Right now, they're trying to flip it. When we come out of Capricorn after 2 ages, we'll go back to Sagittarius is yellow, fire, Asia. Here, Jupiter is white, Europe. But the power moves back, so you have the Jews wanting to reclaim the Middle East. They're Eurasians, Caucasians. They're from Asia. They're from there. They're from this age. And they want to move back there. So to do that, they must push the yellow man back into Europe and push the white man back into Asia, the way it used to be. And that's what they're attempting to do, whether you realize it or not. All of the great work is actually occurring. It's just people are freaking out. And the laws in the country here must come down. I've told you that the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction happening in Capricorn means we get a new government, a new structure, a new system. So the old one must die. One pillar is trying to destroy the old system. The other pillar is trying to resurrect the old system. And we don't want either one. We want the middle pillar. They've put them together. The 9/11 ritual was a solar pillar and a lunar pillar pulled together into an eclipse. And that eclipse marked in 2016, and it repeats itself in 2017, and it repeats itself in 2024. That's 7 years that we're under that. And halfway through is the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. It's the apex between the two. It's when the shit really hits the fan. 2020, 2021. Everything's going to change. All this predictive programming, they've been preparing you for this. This is part of the great work. And we see 2 factions that are at war with each other. The lunar pillar and the solar pillar. But those who stand in the middle, those on the middle path, you're more of observers. It's the Native Americans have a saying, we're just waiting. We're just waiting our turn. They know their turn's coming because the next age, the next 2 ages are actually going to belong to the red man, because all things under Fomalhaut. My father, Aquarius speaking, my father Capricorn, hath put all things under me. Don't be confused by the pronoun he, because from the Greek it's it. There is no he, she, her. It's all it. The masculine and feminine is built into the subject or the noun. So you have to understand the word to understand all things. It's age without end. Aquarius goes right into Capricorn. They are one. All ruled by Saturn, Fomalhaut, the higher self, thalamus, thalum. So we're going to move out of desire to being ruled by our higher selves, our intuition. We're going to regain our telepathic abilities. We won't need cell phones. all they're attempting to do this age is imitate what the Golden Age used to be like. They want to do these 10 ages have had 10 tries at trying to reproduce the Golden Age without the higher self. And it failed. But now we get to come full circle. But during all this failure process, we've been refined and refined and refined and getting closer. We were in the light that no eye can see right here. And then we went into the light of that you can see in the world. Fire, Sagittarius. And it became darker and darker and darker till we had to use the moon. And even then, it's darker, 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 darkest before the dawn. So we are literally at the darkest point in history. And we're fixing to have the real light, the sun that no eye can see. And your third eye can see it. You have to open the third eye to walk in the land of milk and honey. Many of you are upset that you can't open your third eye. That doesn't mean you can't walk that middle path. He told you to take up your cross and follow him. I didn't choose to open my third eye. It happened for me naturally. I consider myself a natural initiate into the mysteries, into the true lodge. But these people that are tapped on their shoulder and brought in and compromised and are being used, they're not the true lodge, and they know it. But a lot of the true lodge is showing up on my channel. You've been naturally initiated by nature itself. And those are the ones I expect to arrive over on Patreon. And that way we can, I don't want to have to, when I get over there, I don't want to have to stop and explain myself on the kindergarten level. I've been doing that for 10 years. It's time to move forward to an extremely advanced level. And I'm going to make the subscription you buy worth it. But you will have to do your homework. And we're going to try to go through it all in detail. Every single one. I'm going to go through every planet, every constellation. I'm going to start breaking them down into deacons, which is something I've not done here. I've left it simple because it's hard to understand. But each sign has its own stages. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. Now, in the next stage, we do go back to a solar worship because Leo is opposite, but moving out of the lunar worship. But in truth, we have no need of the sun or the moon, for I am with you. And that's just the way it's going to be. We'll be ruled by our higher self, not by desire, Jupiter, not by emotion, Mars, not by our hearts. Our hearts can deceive us, so we will not be ruled by Venus. And Mercury and Jupiter, Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Virgo, that mutable cross, they have no place in the kingdom. None. None. Zero. They don't show up on the fixed or the cardinal cross at all. And to me, that's a good thing, because that's the problem with what's going on right now. America was set up as a republic, not a democracy. And it has been hijacked by the Greek democracy. Greek, Gemini, Sagittarius. In the age of Gemini, they worshipped Zeus in Sagittarius. And they've rewrote it all and gave everybody else. During the mutable cross ages, Mercury always rules heaven and earth, and Jupiter always rules water and fire in that age. So, in this age of the battle of fire and ice, which is Jupiter's battle alone, it would have been okay. But the powers that be, I call the Babylonian priesthood, which are the Leo fire worshippers, by the way, they gain their cardinal fire here and think they're the shit on a stick and can take it all over. Hence, that gives us the Cairo. which is the age of the mutable age that we're in right here. That's its symbol. And then they added this. That little symbol, actually they do it round in the feminine, but in the Egyptian it looks like that. They only took half of this, which is the cardinal cross. They took the masculine aspect of the cardinal cross, which is fire, war, Molech, pass your children through the fire, and it now controls the mutable cross. That's who's running the whole show. That's the God they worship. He promised them power. He promised them they would rule the world. Well, they have ruled this world age of Pisces. They ruled Aries before it. As a matter of fact, this same group has been in control since the age of Leo. They just go underground. They change their robes. They change their country. They change their ethnicity and breed with the next one. But the Bible alone tells us who they are and where they came from. That doesn't make anybody under these signs born good or bad. These are just powers. You know, I talk about my mother being bad a lot, but I learned more from her than anybody. I learned what not to do. But she was born on Valentine's Day. She's Aquarius. And it upsets a lot of people that does that make me bad? No. My mother had a cold-ass heart. Guess where her Venus is? Right? It's not what sign you're in. You have different aspects of yourself that fall in different places. And that changes as you grow. Through your Saturn returns, your planets move. Now, I have done one chart in my life that Venus landed in the same house in all three places. Now, that's a heart that never changes right there. But we all change and grow because we're being refined. What else can I say? On Patreon, I'm also going to be introducing a lot of the work from occult.biz that I still have. A lot of the old manuscripts and stuff. I lost the plug-in for my adapter to hook up my IED drives to my computer. It's SATA drive, or SATA as some prefer to say. I say SATA. But to hook up my IED drives, before I moved, I had an adapter. But because it's IED, you have to plug it into the wall. And I lost the chargers somewhere. I can't find it. So I've ordered another one. And when I get that, then I can pull those charts off I've got on that drive. And I can pull all those books off I've got on that drive. Because that's where I stored everything. To me, it's a stable drive. It's the best drive I have. And I felt safe with them being there. So I've still got everything. It's just a matter of accessing it. And it seems like everything I've ordered is being shipped from China or somewhere in Asia. And it's got to come through customs, which is way backed up. But I'm really interested in talking about what all's going on, right? I'm getting a lot of questions about the protests and the rituals and what all they're doing and where's this going. Well, I've told you, it's a controlled destruction. This is all on purpose. This was all planned. And it's going according to plan. And but there is a war. And all of our governments have to come down to get a new one. And primarily, this is about the United States, because that's where the big X and the two eclipses occur with the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, 3.5 years in the middle. It's like reading the book of Revelations. It's like reading the book of Daniel. They told us back then, these cycles repeat themselves. And we've been under the control of Jupiter in this age for a long time. And we're not necessarily out of this age. We're just at a point in this age where the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is going to fall in Saturn's house, which Jupiter happens to be debilitated in. So that gives Saturn the upper hand. And it's going to look bad, But once we birth the new system, which is what we're getting, a new system, then we will be much happier with it. It's going to be a fair one. There'll be no more nepotism. You will not be able to get a job just because your family works there. And all of this racial crap going on, done, gone. You'll never get anything because of the color of your skin. You'll never get anything because of your sexuality or your gender. You will only be by merit, because you earned it. There'll be no privileged anybody. That's what's going down. So to make that go away, you have to bring it to its culmination. And we're seeing it happen. We're seeing it happen in political correctness. We're seeing it happen in cancel culture and outrage culture. And so all of that's going to go away. And you're going to have to earn it. No more free rides. So all the people that's standing out there in these protests that think they're going to get something for free, they're deceiving themselves. If they think they're privileged and somebody owes them something, you don't owe anybody anything. You can't get it. When we leave this place, you get you get a +1. That's what I call it. The Bible teaches us we get a +1. But that can only be a parent or a child or a spouse. You can't +1 your best friend unless you marry them. You can't +1 your sibling unless you marry them. Right? So, but we do get a +1. That somebody else will get to walk in this kingdom just because you earned your pass. And they get to enter because of you. But that does not mean they get a free ride. They're still going to have to earn it. It's going to be by merit only. And if you go back and you study Freemasonry, you'll realize that is the great work. The problem Masonry, or not Freemasonry, but the original problem that Masonry had was the same problem we have now. It's the aristocracy. These same families keep running everything. They own everything. They tell us what to do. They make the laws. And now the whole world is enslaved in debt slavery. They're running in the streets talking about slavery. But oh my goodness, they don't realize that the whole world is a debt slave. There's not one free among them that's not in these families, and they're even compromised. They compromise their own children so that they can control them. And that's power hungry, and that comes from what I call extreme toxic masculinity. Comes from the cardinal cross right here. Extreme toxic femininity comes right here, because they have demonized their balances. Aries demonized Libra as Lucifer. So, bad, bad, bad. If you hear Lucifer's bad, then that is Aries speaking. If you hear that Capricorn is Satan, Saturn's bad, that is toxic femininity speaking. You must find your balance, and they are denying their balance. The answer is always opposite. I'm Capricorn. My biggest problem in my life has been my family. The water in Cancer is your family. Mama's house. I got booted out of Mama's house. Mama abandoned me, so I became a ward of the state. So that's been my biggest problem. And I've spent my life trying to reconcile this. But guess what? In the end, in my chart, I become this. I become the matriarch of my family. I broke the cycle. I got out of the abuse. I did not pass that on to my child and to my generation. We broke that cycle. And there are many of you born that way. But if you're Capricorn, your nemesis and also the answer to your problems are your opposite, Cancer. So as I must embrace my family, they must embrace me, or they're still broken. Aries must embrace Lucifer, Venus, and Libra, or Aries remains broken. And you have to bring these two to one. They balance each other right in the middle. But to demonize your opposite which in a kind of way I do with my mother, don't I? But I've learned so much there that you can't get past that cycle. But in the next stage, in Aquarius, Mars, who rules Aries, moves into water. Here, Aries is make war. Here, Aries is make love. Mars is make love in Scorpio. You make war here, you make love here. And Jupiter here, rule. Well, we don't have Jupiter in the next stage, so we don't have to worry about Jupiter. And Venus. Venus in the next age is Taurus. Our hearts are for the earth. But it can also leave you, remember what I told you, the extreme there. If you don't got your Mars balancing your Venus here, you can have a stone cold heart. It's fixed. It can become stone cold. In alchemy, we are told that Jupiter, let me write this down. Jupiter's aspects are hot. This is how it's described in alchemy, and wet. That these are the aspects of Jupiter. Well, fire and water, of course, hot and wet. So Jupiter's nemesis is Saturn. So they, just because of this, they describe Saturn as cold and dry. But you need to understand the deeper meaning of that. That yes, wet is opposite dry and hot is opposite cold. And the hot here is Sagittarius, and the wet is Pisces. The reason Saturn is cold is because Leo is hot, so that makes Aquarius the cold. Cancer, water is wet, that makes Capricorn dry. Do you see it? Do you start to see how this plays out? Using, here, check this word, an important word you need to know, because it's how they did the Bible Bibble Babble. Adjectives. You add. Jectibe. We can eject, adject, reject, subject. It's about the jection. And they added that to the original scriptures. It weren't there. You didn't have the descriptive adjectives. The second thing they did to Bible Bibble Battle was articles. That's why Artie did it. This is why we're there now. Is because of the articles. A, the, meaning singular. One. Singular. So Artie did it. Art did it. They do it in art. They hide it in art. And that is imagery. The God of the Old Testament, Aries, said, "Thou shalt have no images of anything in heaven or earth." That's Aquarius, Capricorn, Libra, Virgo, Taurus, Gemini, heaven and earth. No images. But you could have images of fire and water. We're moving out of that fire and water, and we're moving back to heaven and earth images. So I suspect in the next stage we won't be told that, because we will, even though we'll have a heaven and earth, each age has its own aspects of fire and water. But this one rejected heaven, Libra. In their own age, they rejected their opposite. And this was supposed to be a purified priesthood, unique, called out, cardinal fire, of the highest order. And instead of purifying, this is the sign of Levi. All the patriarchs are in here, and all the apostles. So this was supposed to be the Levitical priesthood. And instead of purifying themselves, they tried to burn all these other ones. They tried to burn the others and purify them instead of themselves, when the fire was for the priesthood, not the other tribes. So in trying to purify all of these, they became Molech worshippers. It's about power and authority here. and they want to rule the world. They think they're chosen and all that crap. They're chosen for destruction. They are chosen for the lake of fire, Sagittarius. We've been through that. Lake is water. It's mutable. It's a liquid form. Mutable. Pay attention to the adjective. And fire, Sagittarius. So, to be in the lake of fire means you have no part in the kingdom. The kingdom is Aquarius, Capricorn. Period. The two are one. You can just take this little line out. I don't know why I jumped into explaining that, but I felt moved to. Somebody needed some clarification. But just because I talk about the bad aspects of a sign doesn't mean, oh, am I evil because I'm Aries, or am I evil because I'm Aquarius? Absolutely not. No. I don't believe anybody is evil. I believe there is imbalance. It's to me, being evil is just being unbalanced. Aries needs to embrace Lucifer, Venus in the heavens. If Moses took them out of Taurus into Aries, and he even told them to be healed of the serpent knowledge of Taurus, you need to embrace the serpent on the pole. You've been bitten by these snakes. What's the cure for this snake? What were the snakes of Taurus? They came from Gemini. And it seems this guy right here is hell-bent on demonizing Saturn. So Saturn has been called Shiva, the destroyer. Nope. Gemini. Mercury. He can't. Go to India and look around. Everything in India worships Mercury and Jupiter. Jupiter's name in the Hindi language is Guru. How do you get away from that? Saying they're not Jupiterians. But they worship Mercury as Shiva, the destroyer, the seven-headed serpent right here. It's Hermetics. In Hermetics, you start at the bottom chakra and you go up the spinal cord, the Kundalini, through the 7 chakras, the 7 snakes, and you come into the sheepfold the wrong way. You must come through the heart, either Libra or Taurus. And Aries took that away. The priesthood of Leo, with their cardinal robes on, took all that away. So you couldn't do that. No heaven and earth. No imagery. Because they want it all. Talk about greed. They could care less about money. They greed for power. Arrogance out of control. Aries. All Aries people, you're going to have an issue with arrogance in your lifetime. Or you'll be unbalanced the other way. And you'll have no confidence at all. And you'll find your answer right over here. Usually, if you have a problem in your zodiac with one of your planets, you always look opposite to find the answer, to find the balance between the two. And that leaves you you want to stay in the middle of the circle, right? That belongs to the earth. The earth is in the middle. You are in the middle. The sun, the moon, and the planets go around here. But we are geocentric when you're talking about astrology. It's how the stars look at us and we look at them. If we were on a different planet, this circle would be completely different. And the earth would be out here somewhere because we wouldn't be in the circle we wouldn't be in the center of the circle anymore. So, to me, watching stuff like Harry Potter and all that, the way they use it, it can be confusing. It's the best thing you can do is pay attention to the descriptive words, the adjectives, and understand what the alchemical translation of that adjective is. Right? All things in threes. Liquid, solid, gas. Fixed, mutable, cardinal. Severity, mercy, or that middle path. Solar pillar, lunar pillar, or that ladder in the middle. The ladder at the bottom is earth. The ladder at the top is heaven. And they always show you that key hanging on the ladder. The key's on the ladder. And they give you this little symbol of Venus telling you the heart is the key. No man comes to the Father but by me. The heart triggers the thalamus, triggers the pineal. All things in threes. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Which is spirit. Spirit is as an adjective. A spirit, add the article, becomes a noun. A spirit, that becomes a subject, a noun. If you add the article, or the spirit, that's an article that makes the word spirit a noun. But if you use the word like spirits and alcohol, that's to describe the alcohol, that's an adjective, a descriptive word. And you need to pay attention to the descriptive words, the adjectives, to understand, are you talking fixed, mutable, or cardinal? And the element, is it earth, water, air, fire? Spirit is air. It's ether. The word ether belongs to the air signs, the word heaven. When you use the word, now heaven's broken into three. You have Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Gemini is the lowest. It's the adept. It's the lower heavens. It's the atmosphere around us, the clouds, the rain, everything under the dome. Aquarius is the zodiac. It's ruled by Saturn. Aquarius is about astrology and alchemy, which is about the stars and the circle. To say astrology, you say the stars. To say alchemy, you say the circle. But Libra is beyond that. Libra is the heart, beyond the stars. It's everything else, above and below. It's the hidden mysteries of the stars. The lesson of Libra is to balance emotion, Aries, and the heart. Does your emotions control your heart, or does your heart control your emotions? Who's in charge? And if you have trouble balancing here, you go to the feminine. This is masculine. You go to the feminine bar, and you find out feminine axis, and you balance these. It's a teeter-totter. This one, just one axis, is a seesaw. You seesaw here. You see, and then you saw. Saw is something you already seen. But you have the teeter-totter, which is the four. And that's what's going on. I'm telling you, we're at the carnal veil. And you can go around and look at those rides, and they're built on this. They're built on the alchemy of the zodiac. So the great work, there's two great works. The great work is to try to pull off the golden age with technology in some other way, without the higher self. That I can do it with my desire, my emotions, my heart, my logic, the power of the sun and the moon, my gut instinct, and the same, because they eclipse your gut instinct instead of intuition. Instinct, intuition. Hermetics here, all of that. They've tried over and over every way. They done it. They even changed places and did it the other way. It didn't work through these ages, so Jupiter went from fire to water. Well, if I couldn't do it in fire, I'm going to try it in water. And it has failed. They've taken over the world, but it did not. And they've got their cell phones. They've got us all talking to each other. But they needed us 6 feet apart. 6 feet, it has nothing to do with the virus. When you cough, it projects a minimum of 20 feet across the room. What's 6 feet going to do? What 6 feet does is what 5G needs. 5G needs you to stand 6 feet apart, because when you get too close together, the signals bleed and they can't identify you. That's all that is. Let's see how long this video lasts with that statement. But that's what it's all about, is this 10 ages, or the 10 tribes, trying to imitate what Saturn gives us. They're trying to play God. That's their great work. Now, the circle has a great work of its own, and that's to birth souls. It births living souls. You have to have your light body. This mortality puts on immortality. In the age of Aquarius, we all get there. We all do it. It happens automatically because the sun, whatever sign the sun is in, it emits the frequency of that sign. We have been under 2,000 years of the sun being controlled by Jupiter. So even when the sun is in Aries, Jupiter has the authority, and then Aries second is number in charge. But because they're symbols and everything is run by symbols, Aries simply took the power by doing that. Isn't that crazy? And that's how important symbols are, because the universe and your subconscious mind speak in symbolism. They don't care about your language. You can bibble babble and divide the tongues all you want. And that's how they plan to stay in control. Right here, coming into Cancer, is when they are, after that age is when they bibble the tongues. Right here. Flood, immediately into bibbling the tongues. That way they could keep you confused while they done their great work to this group here. Started here, came to here, and now are here. Sun, Jupiter, and Mars. Thank goodness Jupiter and Gemini, the ones we're really struggling with in this age, have no part in the next 2 ages. And neither do their families, their cronies, their systems, all gone, all done. What's going on now is an attempt to pull off their great work. And they do it by lies and manipulation. Fear. Aries deals in fear. Fear keeps you in the lowest chakra, and you will never open your crown chakra. If you walk around in fear, here's another one. Hate. Hate comes from this sign too. Toxic hate comes from Aries and Cancer. And no, that doesn't make people who are Aries or Cancer bad. It actually gives you a benefit. You're actually born under that, so maybe you can do something about it. If you can find balance in your own life as an Aries or a Cancer, then you're worth more than your weight in gold. We need more of you, not less. We need more people born in Aries and Cancer. Because the ones who are wielding this power are not born in this sign. You need to know that. And they're born in all the signs. They're born in all of them. It's just, who do you serve? What symbols do you wear? That's who you serve. What logos you got on your shirt, your shoes, your hat, your purse today? That's who you're serving today. And if you don't get that, you will remain in bondage forever. You need your own symbols of power, the ones you're born with, your natal chart, your first Saturn return, your second Saturn return. You need those symbols because that's who you are. Now, I know that when you go to an astrologer, you're looking for these answers. Who am I, right? Again, be careful. I even tell you to question me. If you feel like I've made an error in your chart that I've done or I'm teaching here, please bring that to my attention. But don't insult me. Tell me I'm stupid. Show me where I'm wrong and correct me. Show me the correct way. That way we both learn something. But all this insult and you're stupid and they're privileged and all this crap, it's got to go. And thank goodness it is. But it's got to escalate. It's got to reach its point of toxicity so bad that they want us to stand up and put it off. Right? They leave that in our hands. They're just going to keep pushing our buttons till we finally stand up and say we've had enough. Well, I'm just telling you to sit and watch the show. Stay on the middle pillar. Let the world, as Jesus would say, let the dead bury the dead. What do we have to do with that? You don't want to, we might be born on one of those pillars, or we might have a lot of our planets on some of those pillars. But we can keep our hearts and our mind on the straight and narrow. And that's all that matters. It's not where you came from. You won't be bound by all this in the next age, because all you have to do is apply yourself. It won't matter what color you are, how old you are, what race you are, what genetics you have. None of that's going to matter. It's going to matter, did you apply yourself? Did you earn it? And it's not going to be easy. But so much going on right now is because there's a confusion that everybody wants justice. Everybody wants equality, when the age of grace and mercy have nothing to do with justice and equality. Nothing. Grace and mercy negates justice and equality. It gives you just the opposite. It gives you the caste system. And here we are, right in the middle of it all. And look at what our leaders do. I'm ashamed to be an American, the way our leaders act. All of them. On the left and the right. Ashamed of them. They should be ashamed of their self. But I do understand they're just following orders. That where this comes from is much higher up. Where this comes from, right here and right here. That's who's got the power. The cardinal cross, and it's the toxic, unbalanced aspects of it. So they need to find their heart, and they need to find their higher self, Saturn, to balance it all out and let go and let Pisces be Pisces. This age was supposed to be a mutable age of transmutation, but because it was hijacked. As a matter of fact, all these ages have been hijacked. All of them. Ever since Leo, we've been under a hijacked system where they think they can, of their own accord, bring us out of this darkness. Well, like I said, it's darkest right before the dawn. And we're blind. And then when we've been in the dark so long, when the sun does finally come, we're going to be blinded by the light. So you need to know now, so you can see not just in the dark, but in the light. Then we'll get there. Then you're on that. When you can do that, then you know you're on that middle path, that ladder, that pillar. You know you're there. You no longer fear. You're no longer afraid. It doesn't matter what the day brings anymore. You got this. All right, people. The links you're looking for are below. Yeah, I know some of them don't work anymore. I'll take care of that in the next videos and see what I can do to replace them with better links. But right now, I am swamped. I've got so much on my plate, and I'm trying to clean up the past before I move with the future. I've still got a stack of charts to get uploaded. I'm still waiting on some of you to reply back to me with information. Can't complete the chart without the proper information. Some of you I've got 5 right now. I'm waiting either on a birth time or a location of birth that was not given to me in the original information, so I can't even do the chart. And if you don't have your birth time, we can work around that, but you will never know your rising sign if you don't know the time of birth. I've done charts for people that were adopted, and you're not even sure if any of that information is correct. But we can work around a birth time as far as the moon sign is concerned, but you will never know your rising sign. And even though I don't have, I have a book, Thoth wrote about that subject, about rising signs, a whole book about it. But I haven't applied it or found the other witness yet. But I can say that on my rising sign is, or actually, Fomalhaut is not my rising sign, but I have Fomalhaut on the horizon. And it has, right now, the latter part of my life, coming into my second Saturn return, it plays the most important role of my entire life. So I have to give credit where credit's due, that yes, there's something to your rising signs that plays out at the end of your life. So it's really helpful to know that, to know what minute you were born, not to just know your rising sign, but to see every star on the horizon at that time. They all count. And mine, Thalem, right there on the horizon at 11:11 a.m. All right, people, y'all know what to do. Bank that karma. As you can see now, you're going to need it. We all going to need it, because it's not going to get better. It's only going to get... When a woman goes into labor, the contractions get closer and closer together. They get harder and harder and harder to where she's just about to faint or die until the baby's born. When the baby's born, the pain stops. The contractions stop. And you have this new living baby, and you instantly forget about the pain. That's what this is like. That's what moving into the next age is going to be like. Right now, I still think we're between ages, and what's being done is manipulating us to put up their false New World Order. Right? They've got us, and it's all run by this group, when we need a new one. They're putting us in unworld. Right now, what's going on with the police forces being disbanded, they want to bring the blue hats on the scene. And they're trying to start a civil war, and they can't do it. So they're just going to disband the police, and then let the natives run wild, and then they'll have to call in these guys with these colored hats, which belongs to this little dude right here who's causing all the problems. Little Boy Blue. That's what I call Mercury. Little Boy Blue. But we need this world. They want to give us they want the... I can't stand it when it does that. They want to give us the UNNWO. We need the... So they can OWN. They can own us, right? New World Order backwards is own. They own the unworld. But we need the new... Whoops. Let me just do this way. It's a freaking spell. We need to mirror that, our anagram. We need the new now. And then we've won. We got to flip it on them, people. We got to get on that middle pillar is what we got to do. And unfortunately, we can't do it for the world. The way this circle works, you can only do it for you. But on your way out or into the kingdom, you do get a +1. You decide who that is. But it's all spell. And these guys are the blue hats. And that's where that color comes from. You see it on that blue on the Israeli flag. Anytime you see that blue, it's this guy. And remember, we're an upside down world. So as Jupiter would be the power of this age, when he flips and Peter's dying, that puts this guy in control. And he runs commerce. He's running the show. Right there. The two serpents. The two serpents of the age of Taurus came from Gemini. Know your symbols. Know your images. Know the difference. Look at them and tell me, are they earth, water, air, or fire? Are they cardinal, fixed, or mutable? I think I'm going to test all you guys, and I'm going to give you a bunch and see who passes and fails. That can be something we're definitely going to do on Patreon. So get ready for all of that. Alright, people. Time for me to get out of here. It's starting to get hot. I need to get cooled down. And bear with me, please. No chart requests. Not even ready close to that right now. When you send me, I'm just throwing you in a folder. And you put chart request on there. I don't even look at it. It immediately goes into a folder. And when I get around to getting the past straightened out, then we'll think about doing them in the future. But here's something you do need to know. If you send me a chart request and you give me your life story in an email, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to have to put it aside. One, I don't want to know anything about you. I don't want to know how, other than your information. How old are you and where and when you were born? I don't want to know if you're male or female. I don't want to know what race you are. I don't want to know anything. I want the chart to speak for itself. So when you start sending me these emails of, well, this is going on in my life and I need to know this and this and this, I don't want to know none of that. At that point, you're asking, all you're going to get is my opinion. But if you tell me nothing, then the chart speaks for itself. And I've tried to do charts for people I know, and I am aware I'm influenced by what I know about them. And that influences the chart. And you're not getting a pure chart, you're getting part of lvt in that. And it might benefit you, but I prefer, if you're going to have a chart, that it be pure. Not even tainted by what I think I know about you. Not any of my opinion in it. Just let the chart say what the chart says. And go from there. Then you can tell me your opinion. Then you can tell me your life story and we can analyze it. But pretty much by the time I get through the chart, I already know your life story. I just told it to you. Alright? Love you people. Bank your karma. If this channel's helped you, consider making a donation. You know, I was up at one point to I had about 3% of people that donated to the channel. But I had a lot fewer subs. So now that I've got, as a matter of fact, thank you all, I just hit 6,000 subs this week. Now my percentage is down, 4. Not even 1% that donate to this channel. Which is another reason I want to move to Patreon. Because at least I'll get something out of it that'll help me with equipment, paying the net bill. I want to get an office. I really need to get out of the house and actually have an office I can walk in. Here, I can get me an office for about $250 a month. All I got to pay is the electric bill and the internet bill, which will give me a really quiet place I can work. And I'd like to take that money from Patreon and pay for me an office, new equipment, and hire me a secretary so that it can help. And I can get more done. Because right now, I'm playing every role. I'm running a company and playing every role in it. Right down to the janitor. I'm cleaning up the messes. I'm the mail boy. I'm the secretary. I'm the IT. I'm everybody. I'm marketing. I'm the director. I'm doing it all. And I'm spread so thin that I feel like I'm shortchanging my subs. So, hopefully all of this will work itself out and Patreon will pull enough in to where I can pay for an office, equipment, and pay somebody to help me help us all. Love you bunches. Think about it. Let's at least try to bring this back up to 1%. Just 1%. But it's real low. And I understand, especially with what we're going through. Many of you are still out of work. And by all means, if you're struggling for money, don't send me money. If you're on a fixed income, don't send me money. Don't do it. There are plenty out there who, for lack of a better word, God has put in a position that they're able to help. But I don't want anything that's going to put anybody into a deficit. Don't put yourself in a deficit for this. I don't want that karma. I want to keep good karma. And I will pay it forward. I do pay it forward. I give far more than I get. And I want to keep it that way. I want to keep that karma banked. Because when we're coming up to what's happening, I've been telling you, I can't stress it enough. We're all going to need it. Because we're moving from mercy and grace. It's fixing to be over. There will be no mercy. And there will be no grace. For that matter, the Pope has closed the mercy door. All of the documents coming out of the Vatican are no longer signed by Francis. They are now signed by Benedict again. And Francis put off the titles of Vicar of Christ. And he closed the mercy door. And now, apparently, I think he is on house arrest. I'm not sure. I think he's been arrested, but he's been defrocked. He's been defrocked. That's the word. And Benedict is now standing or back in as it's his signature coming out of Vatican documents as of just a couple of months ago. So the Pope took off his robe, took off his titles, closed the mercy door, and Peter's dying upside down.